So today, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I will be doing a broadcast, live broadcast with one of my neighbors to show the community where I live how StreamYard works. So my usual fan base may be a little confused if I don't do my usual routine. If I have a user, if in fact I have a usual routine, or maybe my routine doesn't change depending on the audience, but I'm going to try to show how my neighbors and I, or my neighbors and each other, can use this StreamYard thing to talk about their art, or show how they do their art, or have debates about realism versus abstraction, or up versus down. We've never really had a debate about up versus down before. Maybe there isn't anything controversial about that. But for the moment, while we're still dealing with this COVIDian landscape, as it were, I think this might have benefit for our group. So that's what I will be doing at 9 o'clock. Later on today, people that do watch this channel regularly, we will look at our watches at 4 o'clock. And while we're looking at our watches at 4 o'clock, Tasha and Evie will be saying "I do" to one another. So that is exciting. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mr. Norris Sr. You smoking regular cigarettes or some wacky tobacco? I don't even know what it's. 5:36. I don't know if you can hear my coffee gurgling in the background, but it's gurgling in the background. So anyway, that's very nice for Tasha and Evie that friendship developed into romance. So yay to them. And that's happening at 4 o'clock. And we're not invited, but that's fine, because we're dealing with COVIDian nightmares. So no, I don't know whether we would be normally invited even if COVID didn't happen. I'm sure that weddings is a business that I've been in for the last 30 years, and decisions about who one invites is always a difficult one. Because if you invite one cousin you like, if you invite the one cousin you like, you have to invite the rest of them. Otherwise, aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters and everyone else is going to be annoyed, and they're not going to bring that toaster that you've always wanted or whatever. So feelings can get hurt. And you don't want to have that on the happiest day of your life, do you? One of my favorite weddings was done by a neighbor here in my very building, and he and his girlfriend invited people for Thanksgiving dinner. There were enough people to fit around the large table. And, you know, these are people that were normally invited to such events. And there was one person that was sort of new to the group. No one really knew who that person was. But anyway, just at the point where the turkey was maybe going to be carved, I don't know exactly what the actual time was that this happened. The groom and who, you know, had the knife and fork in his hand ready to do the carving, he said, "I'd like to introduce the person over there. His name is Jack Smith, and Jack is going to marry us right now." So Jack Smith walked over, and the bride-to-be stood up, and they got married in a minute and a half. And no one knew that there was a wedding going to be happening other than the three of them. So it was really, really fun. It was a surprise ceremony, and it didn't involve hiring a hotel. The most complicated part was knowing how long to cook the turkey. And then the following summer, the following summer, Thanksgiving is in November, but in June, the following June, they had a big blow-up party where they did rent a venue, and they did have food, and they did have a band, but the trauma of worry that they're not going to say "I do" or whatever else is happening wasn't there. It was just a blowout fun, and so that was really a neat way to do a wedding, I think. Good morning, Kesh. So Kesh, you probably went to sleep an hour ago. No, that's not true. You would go to sleep an hour ago if it was my time. This round earth that we live on is confusing to me. So anyway, these days with weddings, I think COVID did a number, of course, on the idea of having an event, because you can't have an event with lots of people. But I think it has maybe made people rethink weddings. Do we really want to spend all this money on this big blowout party? Or maybe it means let's spend a lot of money on this big blowout party because we're going to be dead tomorrow, maybe by COVID or some other craziness. So, hey, Friedrich. God, you're up early. What are you up so early for, Friedrich? So yesterday I went out and drew 2 times the neighborhood that has this building that isn't there any longer. It's just this huge empty, essentially empty lot with big piles of conduit and piles of cement and piles of, not cement, concrete slabs and big parts of aluminum roof. There's just little piles all sorted out. And I've been drawing it with I bring out 3 pens and 2 water brushes, though I don't really need 2 water brushes. I don't even need 3 pens. I could probably do it with 1 if I was smart. And I came up with some really nice drawings. Would you like to see them? You would? Well, okay. I think you might have seen my tidy whities when I stood up. Sorry about that. Okay, so these may not mean anything to you, like what the hell are you looking at? The thing here, this is the foundation of a building. The ground of the first floor of the building is probably here, and then there was a cement base, and then above it was, I don't even remember what it was. I think this had aluminum vertical slat siding on it. It's a big warehouse. So there's some orange cones, and then back here is the other side of the building, and there's the basement, and right there in the middle, that little blob right there, that looks like a big tumbleweed. That was a pile of electrical conduit piping that was just ripped out from the walls and the ceiling or wherever they were on the structure, and by the big claw-y steam shovel thing, I don't know what, excavator, and then ripped off and dumped there in that little pile. So here is two such excavators. This one here is aiming straight out at us. It's tractor treads here, and then the vertical thing aiming at us, and then the other one here is aiming to the side, and in between them is this huge pile of it was a warehouse that would store records. All Safe Archives was what it was called. So it was just this big empty building that had pallets worth of banker's boxes full of records that a company would send to store for legal reasons, I guess, and then at the end of 10 years or whenever you aren't going to be audited or whatever, then they would destroy them. But they take up room. They may have stored other things, I honestly don't know, but All Safe Archives, and their logo was a picture of a banker's box. So it wasn't, they didn't manufacture anything, they just kept things. And, you know, had it been an actual factory, of course, if it was a factory, anything that was mechanical would be carefully taken apart and reused somewhere. But right now, this building has some wood. There's a big pile of wood bits, and there's a big pile of cement. It may have had a poured cement floor on the second floor or something, I don't know. Never was inside it. And then, so here's the big pile of cement. And behind, in the distance over here, is the pile of aluminum. And then there's our little tractor excavator. So I use, I'll bring the other drawings I did as well, since you seem to be interested. Be right back. Kitty, I can't help you. Yeah, I know. I know all about it. What? Kitty, what? You? Water? Ugh. Yeah, well, urban, I used to think, why can't they just finish this city? Why can't it just be done? And and it can't be. There's always something that has to be repaired or removed or improved. Did I say that? Removed or improved? And I love that there are places. I remember in Italy on a train trip somewhere looking up to a mountain, and there was this remains of, I don't know why they would put a factory on a mountain. Didn't seem like a logical place for it, but there was this thing that looked like a factory, bombed out or burned out or decaying factory that was on a mountain, a hill. And I thought, gee, that looks neat. Could have been a castle, but I don't think so. It looked more modern. So anyway, here's a loading dock here. This part of from here that way, the building is still in existence, kind of. And all the stuff back here was essentially just a big rectangle. The offices and the loading docks were here on the end by us. So what you see in the distance there, that dark area is the subfloor basement. So and here this is the cement floor that crashed down onto the basement. And that loading dock here, that big gaping hole, no one knew that there was this 100-year-old building behind this 30-year-old building, or whatever, however old the new building was. And the building behind it is made of brick, and was also a storehouse. There was an active still railroad station, railroad track that goes by our building that used to carry freight. And our building was the A&P food people, Atlantic Pacific Food Company store area. So there would be food taken off of trains to be processed here, or put on trains after process. I don't know what was going on, but so anyway, the building behind us now, behind that building, is a building we never knew existed because it was covered up by this other thing. So I presume they're going to tear that down too. So anyway, here's the roof with some insulation dribbling down, and the sub-basement. Here's that sub-basement again, that same loading dock in the building behind, and then in the front there were these two orange cones, one with little caution tape flipping about in the wind, and the shadow of the caution tape. So I draw this with a Schaefer touchdown pen. Sometimes I used a very fat, stubby, flexible, not stubby, broad, flexible Wahl Eversharp to supply the big fat lines of black, blue-black here. And then I go back with my water brush and dissolve the ink. Here's the old building behind. This is, and then the newest building where the offices were, and the loading docks, and the more complicated area. And that has yet to be completely demolished. Here's another view of the tumbleweed of piping, electrical conduit stuff. There's rebar and there's all sorts of stuff going on. But you know, I'm looking at, because this building was a building, there's a geometry to it that it still exists. It isn't trees in the forest that fall this way and that and decay and rot and stuff. It's things are built vertical and horizontal because they're buildings, and so consequently there's a lot of organization in the way that this is drawn. And sometimes I go head on like this, where there's no sort of perspective. There's a little perspective here in this wall that goes back, but most of this is flat against the picture plane. But sometimes I will move my eyeball, and here you have that 3.5 foot foundation wall going back into the distance. And in the foreground here, which I did not paint, draw, render, is a chain link fence kind of thing. It's not quite chain link, but it's a screen, you know, vertical and horizontal lines of a fence. And in the background there were storm clouds. It was raining off in the distance somewhere. You see the 2, 3 excavators back there sleeping. Here's another one. Here's where I tried to draw the fence. So the fence is in the foreground here. And this door is the door to my building. And the remaining building that's being torn down is right here. It's essentially 2 stories tall, maybe 3 in the way back, but that might have caved in already. And then our building is in the background. That's the fifth floor corner of my building. And there's a single cinder block. Oh, cool. I should show you I should figure out how to send you some images. Are you on Instagram, Norris? There's another view. Again, over here is the existing building. We just saw the building from further that way, looking back at the building. Here's the remaining loading dock. There's actually, I think, 2 remaining loading dock, and 2 loading docks in the distance. So again, it's a fun process. So just email. Let me just see if I can find you. One of the things I do, Norris, let me see if I can find you in my, yes, I see you right here. You're a Hotmail person. So let me send you something that I did in my building. I think you've probably seen me make my little fish out of cardboard. Have you seen those images? You have? Okay, well, because our buildings are surrounded by these this construction that's going on. They're building the train they're building train tracks. I look out my window and I see yes, whatever it was called. You see all these trucks and stuff. So I've done drawings of trucks. I've done just wacky piles of stuff, and then I built a display for in the gallery. I'm just titling these things randomly just to get it out of my face here. So I've been drawing, not so much workers, but I've been drawing the construction stuff, trucks and scenery, and they're building all these bridges and structures to hold the tracks up. And I'll show you some other backhoe kind of stuff here. Cabins in the woods. I think equipment is more fun than cabins in the woods. You'll learn very soon that trees would drive you crazy. To draw dense trees, it's a challenge because there's so much there, and you really have to put on your editing glasses, and you have to learn to squint and make your eyes go out of focus so you can try to make some sense of what you see. Because if you start drawing just trees, you'll never end. Well, you can draw that. Good luck. Love a little shack. Do you like cement mixers? Anyway, so this morning, maybe before you own a cement mixer, I mean, like one that's on a truck, or you have a little one that you plug into the wall. I know you don't plug it into the wall, they're gas fired, but they're backyard. They look like a overgrown wok, Weber grill. Just right for doing a patio. Get one at Ace Equipment Rental Company, 235 Western Avenue. Okay, what did you buy? Is this going to be me to tell you to fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you? I don't remember how many fuck yous I got for my Wahl Eversharp purchase. What did you win? Friedrich, I did buy that dip pen nib. Dip pen that had a box and a nib in it. And it, the nib works well. Oh, wow. Now the insignia, oh, now I'm confused. Oh, okay. Tell me what the insignia is again. Is that the one with the vertical checkerboard pattern? So, oh, I see. Well, bargains are only a bargain if really only one person really wants it. or the photograph is so fuzzy and fucked up that you don't even know what you're looking for at. Vertical lines, no horizontal lines. What was that one called? The one that has the vertical with the broadly spaced horizontal lines. And you're not talking about the Signet, right? That's the one that has the gold version of the Flighter. Coronet pattern. You know, I need to either relearn all of this information or just pretend I don't know anything. I think it's easier to just pretend I don't know anything. What was, if the vertical lines is the insignia, what were the ones that slightly radiated out? Maybe those were on the aerometric ones. Signet is smooth. No, you're gonna have to explain this to me. We'll have to do a show and tell sometime, Friedrich, when you have all of the gold or metal patterns. We'll invite you on, and maybe you can explain what they all are. Joshua, did you get your mail? Look in your mail, Joshua. Imagine I could just open up a fountain pen book that I have and find some of these things too, but then I'd have to open up a book. It's easier to just have you tell me. But no, I don't mean to make you do that. I'm just trying to remember in my little. There's another key to buying bargains is buying in bulk. You look at a lot of pens, there might be 4 of the 12, let's say, are good. And the rest are not what you want and not maybe very good. But if you apply a value to them, because they are not worthless, they have value to some other collector, it just isn't the one you want. But if you assign a fair value to everything in that pile, it might only be $1. Do you really want a mechanical pencil that says Rexall drug on it? Probably not. Is it worth a quarter? If it's worth a quarter, put a quarter, mark it on your little list as being worth a quarter, and then add that to the other things, and it will come up with a number that might be more than what I'm paying for. That's not necessarily a bargain, but it's a way where you can outbid someone. But yes, when people mismark things, I found some rather lovely nibs that were in the wrong pen. There was a Waterman yellow keyhole nib shoved in a Wahl Eversharp Goldfill pen. Now, it was the wrong nib in the wrong pen, and I don't know how I won that bid, because the yellow nib is a pretty rare nib, and the Wahl was not bad either, but I won that thing for what I thought was a pretty good price. I think I got the pen for the price, the value of just that Waterman nib, but it was listed as a Wahl Eversharp pen. In a dip pen that most people don't value too much, a Victorian era dip nib like the one I just bought, I saw in the picture, as plain as day, a very early Waterman nib. And I don't remember what was weird about it, but it's very weird. It either didn't have a breather hole, or it had a breather hole that had a V shape in it. There was some weird thing about that pen, and it had the Waterman like this. It may have had a star, maybe it was a Waterman star nib, but it was a rare nib, and it was shoved in this pen that it didn't belong in. And had they taken the nib out of the pen and thrown the pen away, the dip pen, and just said Waterman nib, someone would have probably bought it for a lot more than I bought the pair for. Oh dear. Yeah, there are surprises and bargains. Now, the Effextinol's $20 Sheaffer or whatever it was, it's strange that any pen that has a gold nib that has more than $20 worth of melt gold in it would sell for only $20. But yeah, you can find, I sometimes search old pens. I don't say fountain pens. I don't say, sometimes art supplies. You can find things. The pen I got recently on eBay, that dip pen nib in a bone or ivory, I think it's bone, holder, from Christmas 1905, it says on the box, had a bend in the nib. There was a crease down the middle of the tines, sort of in between the point and the end of the slit, where it clearly had fallen on the floor or bent somehow, got caught in the Duesenberg door. But it wrote fine. It really worked perfectly fine. It just had that sort of bend in it. So I decided to burnish it out as best I could, all the while fearing that I might bend it so it doesn't write, because sometimes that happens. You fix something and you end up making it worse. But I made it okay. And it still has that little bend, but I made it look a little bit better. And it's a really sweet boingy boingy nib that that fits very nicely in a Waterman number 2 I have a 52 barrel that I put it in, and it works just fine. So what I'm going to do is find a Waterman 12 barrel and cap, if I have such a thing, and put it in that for the moment. We were talking, yes, we were talking to Marilyn about that, and I showed you the picture of it, of the listing. I don't remember if we were trying to open her mind. I think Marilyn does have a mindset that needs expanding a little, but I also know that just by the few pens that I've sent her to try and to work with, and looking at how she holds the pen and how she writes with the pen, that her you know that she is missing a bone. No, she's missing a joint in her thumb. So this joint right here on each thumb does not exist. So there's a limitation to her movement and how she holds a pen. And I sent her a pen that was like a Wall No. 2 metal pen. It was very thin. I thought she'd really love it, and she hated it because it was too thin. She needed a pen that had a girth to it. Doesn't need to be a lot. A 52 works perfectly fine for her. But that Wall No. 2 size is too fine pen. And I know she said she liked dip pen holders, but not to use. She likes the way they look. But I have a feeling she would find it frustrating that just looking at a pen, I think she'd have to use it to warrant keeping it on her table. Have a dip pen made of ebonite. So it's a big, heavy, solid. Heavy stick with a thing in the front of it to stick a nib in. Yeah, a Waterman spoon feed is about as good a feed as you'd want for any pen. But if you're sitting at home doing calligraphy at your desk, a Waterman, sometimes Waterman feeds, if I'm out sketching crazily in the wild and I'm moving my pen around, there could be a blob of ink that flies out of a spoon feed. But if you're not dealing with the Sturm und Drang of capturing a thunderstorm with your drawing, I think you maybe need a feed that isn't so wet. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. I've been watching a lot of tutorials about how to do watercolor, and there's a lot of fucking shit to keep in your little brain when you're doing watercolor. And I don't know if I have the desire to actually learn to do it correctly. Do I want squirrel hair brushes, or am I happy with just nylon brushes? Do I need a cold press or a different kind of press paper? I've got so much fucking paper in this house, and lots of watercolor paper, some of which I get from other people who move out and they just dump their art supplies down. So I've got so many different kinds of paper, watercolor paper, that I really don't want to fuss about learning techniques so much, because I know that I'm going to be, there's always some element to my recipe that might be different. If I knew there's one kind of watercolor paper I really, really love, I might go to an art supply store and buy their entire stock. But then I found, when I did that a couple of times, that they changed the recipe in the middle of their thing, and the paper is shitty now. So I've got a bunch of shitty paper. But some paper, if you're doing watercolor or calligraphy, even envelopes, if it's a humid day and paper's absorbing humidity, I'm going to have a little bit of bleeding happening. So as much as I like my materials to be really, really good, I try to allow myself to be happy with the accidents that happen when you have material that is not always good. Just live with the accidents. Shitty paper. Schiavello, it's nice to see you. Would you like to join in here? Clipboard. Paste. So there's 6 people in the room. I don't know who all of you are, but you might be some of my normal fans. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, 2.5 hours from now, I will be live with one of my neighbors here in my building, and we're going to do a building advertisement, I guess we would call it, to describe to the building the value of this StreamYard system, of maybe doing instruction or talking about your artwork or your studio, and that these things would be uploaded to the Brick Bottom YouTube page, which I didn't realize we had, but we do have one. I don't think we've done anything with it yet, but it would be a nice archive to do. And so at 9 o'clock, I will start a broadcast and try to explain as best I can why I like this system. Yeah, getting I would buy and often do buy from letterpress people mountains of paper, and they might be this long, this wide, and 3 feet long. And I use that to design a wedding invitation. I know, let's do a long, skinny thing, so because I have long, skinny paper. um, anyway, my friend Charles, my neighbor Charles Baldwin, who you may have seen if you saw my broadcast from yesterday. He's really a fun guy who is an artist, and he's been very keen on trying to figure out how to keep the quote brand, the Brick Bottom brand, in the news, or bring it into the news, and try to figure out how to make us relevant in the art community of Somerville. We're not going to do that. I'm going to get more coffee, and I think I'm going to put some pants on. Yeah. I know. Oh, it's Tasha and Evie are getting married today at 4 o'clock. So cast your thoughts down Arkansas way, cross your fingers, and toast them from afar. It's very sweet. I think they're inviting 5 people. I think total 7, 5, something like that. So, coffee, and pants. Where are my pants? Kitty, what do you want? Yeah, Kitty? No. I know. Look at this. There's food right here. Eat your food. Eat your food. I'm back. You can't mail Who? Tasha? So Skivello, how are you? You said you're unwell. Can you expound on that? I have Tasha's address somewhere, I think, because I sent her pens. Let's wait till we see her again. Or I can send her an email saying that you'd like to send pens. I don't know why she wouldn't want you to know it. I'm sure she would be okay. But have you emailed her, Friedrich? Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I think I think that was probably wise to wait. I got an audio message from Parker who said, feel free to play this on the stream, so we'll play it now.
Hi, Pia, and everyone in the chat. I am suffering from really bad vocal nodules, which is like tonsillitis, but further down, where my vocal cords are vibrating against each other because they're two strips, and so it's almost forming like callus, and they can become cancerous. So with that, I become agitated. I have no voice. I sound like I smoke 40 packs of cigarettes a day, and I just can't be in the mood to be on stream because it hurts to talk. Like for me to talk for the 4 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours that we do on the stream, I'm out of commission for a good 5-6 days, and it's really bad. But anyway, I hope that you all have a really, really, really good day, all of you, and congratulations to Evie and Schroeder, and hi to everyone else as well.
Well, thank you, Parker, for that, and don't talk anymore. That was, but use your fingers. Let your fingers do the talking. It's just it sucks being a corporeal being. Why can't we just be balls of energy that wander through space instead of something that has to involve eating and drinking and pooping and breathing and exercise? Kitty. Okay, I need to post something right now if I can figure out how to do this. I'm looking for my YouTube channel from yesterday. My channel. Now, one of the things that I can do as the host at the end of this thing, we're done. It's like, you've. One of the things that I can do as the host.
So it's funny to go on YouTube on my phone, and there is a slight delay.
Yeah.
But move my picture from the pictures that I'm looking at in this conversation.
You can't. I mean, what we see right here in front of us is what YouTube is recording.
Right.
So you can take your video off.
I can stop my camera.
Or I could mute. Who's Barrelon? Good morning, Barrelon. Oh, with your coat of arms. Did we talk about your coat of arms? This is Star Trek, yes. Captain, the beings from this planet are non-corporeal. What do you mean, Spock? They don't have a body as you or I. You mean they're just energy? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to post something on Facebook. Can I just do that? Can I figure out how to do that? So Barrelon, with your coat of arms, your what are the three images at the top of your coat of arms? You've got a what am I trying to do? I'm trying to post something. That's what I'm trying to do. Sketchers. Yes. Okay, Barrelon. Where are you from, Barrelon? Sorry, I was typing. Where are you from, Barrelon? Bruno is a man, an alpha male, I think you would refer to him as. He's a man who gives advice to mainly geared to other men about being a man. Now the flaw in that ointment is he has a belief of what men should be: strong and masculine and heterosexual, I think. And in the heterosexual world, the man, part of the man-woman thing, should be in charge. Now, me, Pierre Gustafson, doesn't fit in that world. And even if I did, I think what's nice about two people that wear pants, generally, rather than a pants and a nice summer dress, is that the pants can be worn by either person. Someone might always have to be in charge at a particular given situation, otherwise you'll drive right into the tree. Someone wants to go left, someone wants to go right, and you're going to end up hitting that tree. And so you avoid sharing control when you're driving a car anywhere where there's a tree. But I think that there are ways where you can share the... Now, Keshev is way more open-minded than Bruno, George Bruno. And George, I've met George twice, and he interviewed me for about at a pen show twice. And we had a good time, and I watched his channels after the first time I saw it, and he was giving advice to other men, other heterosexual men, about what it's like to be in a successful heterosexual relationship. And there was something in his advice that I did not like. And maybe it was that it was the macho, masculine, alpha male, dominant kind of thing that I just rubbed me the wrong way. But I do know that there are a number of women out there in the real world that like that subservient role. No women I know like that. Even heterosexual women, no women I know like that role. I don't know these people, but evidently those people exist. I would have thought, for example, that any self-respecting woman would never vote for Donald Trump after the pussy comment. I would think that would have just caused everyone to check the other box. They might be rich, they might be racist, they might be whatever, but if they're... Now here I'm making a generalization about women in the same way that he might make generalizations about men. So I'm guilty of the same thing, but I know I'm guilty of it. So anyway, it's a very different worldview, but that's what makes it fun, being alive and having this. So your mother and sister did? I thought your family always marries strong women. So anyway, it's a very different world out there. And oh, that they voted for Trump. I see. Okay. So anyway, or maybe I don't know. My brain is not functioning. But anyway, George Bruno also, I think his posts on Instagram sort of suggest that he's believes in some of this QAnon stuff. And there was one post he had that showed a picture of the White House from the ground, and you're looking up at a podium where the Biden was speaking, and then behind the White House was this building that someone had posted. He reposted someone's posting that suggested that this was the stadium in Georgia, and that the White House, this is just a set, because this is the stadium that's in Georgia. And I looked at the picture and I knew what it was. It was the executive building that's next door to the White House. This big neoclassical pile, and with fancy neoclassical entablature, and then there's some chimneys sticking out of the top. And so I typed in saying, why would a football stadium, have chimneys? This is clearly the picture of the building next to the White House. So, but he posted it as if he was believing that thing. So it's there's a little bit of QAnonity in his postings, and which I don't understand. Anyway, he and I got in a little argument, and he asked me if I'd want to be on his show, and I thought it would be good. I said, I think it would be fun. I don't want to argue with him, but I like the idea of understanding different views. There's nothing I'm going to say that's going to change his mind. And there's nothing that he's going to say that will change my mind. But if we can make one little tiny baby step toward each of us allowing the other person's mind to be appreciated in some way, I think that would be good. One of his followers is another very well-built, beefy coach. His name is Coach Justin, I think. And he and I were arguing a little bit on some masculine equal strong, equal good sort of topic. And he made a comment sort of dismissing my thing, but he also said that he liked my art. As one graphic designer to another, your work is great. So I looked at his Instagram page. I saw what work he does. He was talented as well. And then I started talking about my drawing of humans, mainly men. I like drawing men. I admit it right here. My hand is up. Men with muscles. Can't beat it. But I also draw skinny men and fat men and old men and young men, and learning. And I've drawn men wearing panties and men wearing high heels, and none of, or many of these things that I've drawn, I'm not at all interested in. I'm not attracted, I don't sexually, to fishnet stockings. But by drawing some man's hairy leg in fishnet stockings, because he likes it, and I'm learning how to create a drawing that I'm trying to design for this person to like, I'm able to understand what that person is about. And I find that the neurons and whatever it is in your brain that make some person like leather are right next door to the neuron that makes people like lace. And if you crossed out the word leather and replaced it with the word lace, they almost could be identical in terms of what it is they like about these garments. And I have learned, I used to dismiss people. Oh, they like drag queens. I don't understand drag queens. I hate drag queens. I'm not even interested to learn anything about them. Well, if I talk to a drag queen and listen to what it is they find fascinating about it, I will understand them a little tiny bit more, and we will get along better. So if I'm a guest on George's show and I stir my coffee with chopsticks, maybe I'll learn something about why stirring with chopsticks is a good thing. That's one of the things he does, and that's what Will Hodges will come up and punch my face if that's if he sees that happening. So I think it would be interesting. It might be a slaughter. It might be watching the faggot being thrown to the lions in the Colosseum, and you could watch me just being torn asunder. But I have a feeling that that's not going to happen. I don't think he would do that. And I also think that there might be some overlap in our, rather than focusing on the things that make us different, we focus on the things that we agree with, and then it might make us more understanding of the other person's position. The end. 2 hours till I have to make myself pretty for my debut. Okay, Schiavello sent me some text here. This is me right now. He sent me, oh, look at him. Very cute with your goatee. But you do look very exhausted, Schiavello. You need to go back to sleep. No, there's not a typical anything. We're way too complicated a species to be typical. And in fact, you take a room full of cats and you study cats, and you might say, okay, all cats will do this, but there's not a typical cat. There might be shared characteristics that they have, but I think when you study them completely, cats are too diverse to be typical. Maybe I don't know anything about cats. Anyway, it's very interesting, and he might want to do it, and he may see this channel and hate what I'm saying and not want to invite me, which is fine, I guess. His comments and some of his followers' comments to me about things I've said they weren't cruel. They were just sort of mean-spirited and dismissive. Oh, you're a liberal snowflake. Yeah, I guess I am. You're pretty woke. Now, why is woke bad? Why is someone who's aware of the world around them, why is that a negative thing? Isn't that what woke means? Comprehending, observant. Is there an actual bad thing about being woke? It's like, is there a bad thing about being liberal-minded? Oh, Schiavello's here. Schiavello, I will let you in only if you talk in sign language. I'm not going to have you say one word. You can go up, you can go down, you could rub your hair when we say something, but please don't say anything, okay? Not one word. No words.
Hi.
I'm going to mute you. I can't have you. I don't want you to, so don't say a word, please. Just smile and go up. That's very funny. That's very good. Or down. Or you could use American Sign Language or Kangaroo Sign Language, whatever you want to. See, we miss you. We miss laughing at you. Don't say a word.
Kangaroo sign language.
You can't. I know. I was making a bad joke.
Yeah. Like, I can
Don't.
talk.
Don't.
Should. I can talk little bits and pieces
Okay, you can whisper.
but not like extended amounts.
Okay. 2-word. You can have 3 words only in any given point. I think a verb, a noun, a subject. ASMR. So Barrelon, with your 3 bells and stripes, where are you from, Barrelon? And is this an actual family? Are you from royalty, Barrelon? Not royalty, but are you of a noble background? Aristocratic background? Barrelon's icon is a coat of arms. And there are 3 bells, and which may be they call it punning. It may be a thing that represents his name. Like Shakespeare could have a hand shaking a spear, is how they would pun in a coat of arms. But
double entendre.
yeah,
I, is that the word?
Double entendre, double meaning. Yeah, it's in the term that they use in heraldry is punning. The term that they ascribe to that is punning for some reason.
But hi, Mr. Hodge. But I thought I would come on here just for a little while.
Am I not getting any other? Are you reading things? The last thing I see, Parker, you can use Pierce style iMessage answers only.
Yes, that's all I've got.
Okay, I just don't know. Oh, I see you're moving up. Okay. Let me just look what woke is. What is the definition of woke in?
Work means that you're fully aware of a certain topic, and it's like I hate to bring it in, like Black Lives Matter. Like you're fully woke about it. Like, oh, this is what it's really about. Like it's like, oh my god, like it's just, yeah, like a lot of people don't understand certain things to a full extent. But woke can be
Okay.
in a very different. Yeah, I
Well,
agree,
I
Josh.
see it is it's to be more aware of injustice, social things, and
Yeah,
I thought it was broader than that, where you're aware of
yeah,
the weather outside. You know, I'm pretty woke to the humidity and the dew point and the temperature range and the climate that's happening. So I think but someone called me pretty woke. Someone had commented in George Bruno's thing, show me a woman that would win in a strongman contest. And I said, well, a woman can't win in a strongman contest, but she could win in a strong human contest. Oh, you're pretty woke.
I
No,
agree.
no, a woman cannot win in a contest that doesn't allow women to be in it. That's just grammatically correct. I'm pointing
Yes,
out something that's obvious. Oh, you're pretty woke. No, I'm smart.
I would say Russell is woke.
Russell is very woke. He might just be a little too woke. He may
Mm-hmm.
see. I don't know. I don't think he is too woke. I think he's exactly woke. I think if someone sees social injustice everywhere, and sees it in places that do not exist, that might be too woke, if that makes sense. You
I
live in
mean,
Portugal. Okay, Barrelon. Cool.
I find Russell to be like a duck on water where it's calm and their feet are going crazy under. Like that's how I envision Russell. Like that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like like his body is just like chilling,
Yeah.
but like I like referring to his brain as like the duck's feet,
Yeah.
but like the duck's feet are going crazy under the water. Like, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's probably true. I know that his brain is always working, whether it's working and seeing things. I don't think he sees things there's some people that see things only from a perspective of a political perspective or a social perspective, and I think he sees things from many different sets of eyeballs.
I think a lot of people see things in black and white and gray. Very majority of people, but Russell he sees everything so vivid in color.
Oh.
If like that spectrum is just like so colorful, and then a majority of people is black and white and gray. Of like,
I mean, he is. I mean, our conversations, Russell and I tend to talk about art things, but when I hear him talk with Effextinol about something that isn't about art, or talk about history or something like that, he knows a lot about a lot of things. And so I think when he does talk about anything, his brain, all of the brain cells in his little head that are firing all at the same time, and he's able to, he doesn't have to say it out loud, but he's processing French history along with the painting made by a French painter. And so, which he doesn't bring into the conversation, the factoids that his brain is processing, but it helps create the sentence that he says. And but he's amazing how much he knows about so many things. That it's quite fun.
I can kind of, I mean, I'm no Russell, obviously, but like I'm very similar like that, being a polyglot, like with the languages, and it's like I can say I'm thinking about Russell painting and it's in Italian, and then I process it in Croatian in my head, and then it comes out in English, or it comes out in Dutch. Like it's very. So I understand like the light bulbs going off in his head, like that is so vivid, if you know what I mean. I hope that makes sense.
I think so. I mean, when you brought in your various languages you speak, I think people that know more than one language relatively fluently they're thinking in both languages at the same time, and or they can.
Yes.
And it's like they're thinking in stereo.
It's almost like Spanglish, like, and that's just just throwing it out there, like Croatianish, or there's two languages mixed in together, and it's like the Croatian and the Italian are understanding, and like in my head it's like Italian, Croatian, and it's like I'm having like the conversation in my head is both, like, and it processes like that, and it gets frustrating because I just want one language where I don't need to process it to a point where I have to spit it out in English, and then it goes through Spanish, and then it's just like it's a lot of work. Like sometimes, like when that button clicks.
It
Yeah. For.
it's interesting. I was once thinking that Esperanto was this language that was supposed to take over all languages and allow us all to speak the same language again. And it didn't catch on very much. But I thought, why don't we just decide, and this is very, what is the word? Let's say we just take a stereotype. That's the word I want, stereotypical of a particular language. So the French people are famous for their cooking. Of course, so are Italians, but not English. But
Okay.
so we have all cooking terms will now be French. We say œuf, not eggs, and we're done. And then what about war? Well, we could throw the Germans in there. The Germans are good for war. So German, all the words about war and combat can be German. And then what about English? What would English be? Would that be
Prisoner.
banking or law or Italian maybe could be music. I mean, it is music already with their terminology, but and that way everyone gets their little 2 cents worth, their 2 centimes, and the Dutch could be money, international trade and money, and tech could be what? I know that English tends to be tech, but maybe there's a better language for that.
Barrelon said, "I'm lost in the conversation. What did you guys smoke? I want some. Trust me, if it was legal in my country, I'm in Australia, so."
Funny, Frederick.
Do we sound like we're on, like what we're smoking something? Maybe
well,
I do.
Barrelon being Portuguese, maybe is missing some of the subtleties. If we have
Portuguese or Spanish.
Huh?
Portuguese is Spanish, right?
No, Portugal is Portuguese.
Sorry.
Separate.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Cuba.
Yeah.
My bad. I apologize. Do we have any Spanish-speaking people in the chat?
I don't think we do. We only have 4 according to this, and what I'm going to do though, I'm going to hang up now and drink, have some breakfast, and
Whoa.
You debut for this thing. So at 9 o'clock, I'm going to be broadcasting again, but this is going to be mainly for my building. You can watch, but I won't be inviting people into the chat.
That's okay.
You can meet some of my neighbors, though. It would be fun for you people to see some of the people that I live with, and you'll really like, I think, Charles Baldwin, who's my co-host this morning. So he's quite fun. Yeah. So we'll see you all later. Nice seeing you, Schiavello.
Yes, it was nice to see you, and I probably won't be around for a month or 2 because it's just.
Well, you can always, if you can always join and type
Yes, I can, but I am going to be having surgery in the next
Oh.
month or 2
Oh.
or 3.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll cross our fingers and send you good wishes for
Thank
what
you.
is in store for you. So, anyway, be good. We'll see
Yes,
you
you
later.
too.
Bye.
Bye, Pia. Bye, Will. Bye, Frederick. Bye, Barry Long.
Barrelon.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.